You know the legends, right? Figures like Bjorn Ironside, the great Viking conqueror. We hear all about their epic tales of glory and plunder. But what if I told you that's only half the story? Today, we're going to step into the shadow cast by those very victories to uncover the hidden costs of conquest.
Yeah, this quote right here, it just gets right to the heart of it. I mean, think about it. All the official histories, the victory songs, they're always focused on what was won. But this forces us to ask a totally different question. What was actually lost? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to pull back that curtain on all those glorified stories and find the truth that, well, usually gets left out.
Okay, look at this. It really lays out the two sides of the coin, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the story we're all sold. Glory, plunder, victory. And yeah, it sounds exciting. But then, you look at the other side, the reality. For the people who were conquered, glory just meant loss. Plunder was trauma. And victory? That was the total erosion of everything they knew. All right, so let's start with the big picture here. We're talking about the massive society-level damage that conquest just leaves in its wake. This goes way beyond a single battle. We're talking about the complete and utter reshaping of an entire world. It's a really heavy question, right? When one group takes over another, what's the actual cost? Because it's definitely not just about gold or land. No, the real price, it's paid in things like community, culture, and stability. So this price gets paid in a few major ways. First up, you've got broken bonds. We're talking about communities and social structures that took centuries to build, just shattered almost overnight. Then there's resource depletion. The invaders come in, they drain the land of its wealth, and they leave behind total economic devastation. And finally, and this one is maybe the most insidious, you have cultural erosion. This is where local traditions, languages, and whole identities are just suppressed or sometimes wiped out completely. But the damage, it doesn't just stop at the society level, not even close. Now, we're going to see how it seeps down into the minds and hearts of people, creating these wounds that, honestly, can last way longer than any empire. So we've talked about the stuff you can't see, right? The broken economies, the silenced cultures. But conquest also leaves behind these deep psychological wounds. So what about those? The scars we can't see. How do they show up? And how long do they really last? Well, the psychological toll is, as you can imagine, incredibly complex. For one thing, it creates these generational echoes. Trauma becomes more than just a memory. It gets passed down through families, in their stories, even in their biological stress responses. And then there's something we almost never talk about, the conqueror's burden. Yeah, there's a psychological price that the victors pay too. But, and this is so important, woven through all of this pain, you find these incredible stories of resilience. The human spirit just fighting to heal and hold on to its identity no matter what. Okay, so right about now, you might be thinking, this is all ancient history. What does it have to do with me? Well, the thing is, these patterns of conquest, they are surprisingly persistent. So let's take a look at how these same dynamics are playing out right now in our world. I mean, look, the tools have definitely changed. No doubt about it. We've gone from the brute force of swords and shields in ancient times to the flags and trade routes of the colonial era. And today, well, today the battles are fought with data and dollars. The methods evolve, for sure, but that fundamental dynamic of control and dominance, it looks eerily familiar. And this idea is so key to understanding the world we live in right now. Economic dominance. It can do a lot of the same stuff as old-school military conquest. Controlling resources, shaping societies, creating dependency, but it does it all without firing a single shot. It's way more subtle, but man, it is an incredibly powerful form of modern occupation. And here is one of the most heartbreaking echoes of history playing out right in front of us. This mass displacement of people we see in the modern refugee crisis. Families torn from their homes, whole communities scattered to the winds. It's a direct parallel to what happened after historical invasions. The reasons might be different on the surface, but the human cost, it's exactly the same. So, after digging into all these hidden costs, the big question is, what do we do with this knowledge? And this is about way more than just wagging a finger at the past. It's about actually learning from what's been left unsaid, so maybe we can build a better future. And we can start by looking at history through a new lens. It's basically a three-step process. First, we have to challenge those simple good guys versus bad guys narratives. History is almost never that black and white. Second, we start using empathy as a real tool, trying to understand the human experience on all sides of a conflict. And third, we take these lessons and actually apply them to the world we're living in right now.
Because here's the bottom line. If we only ever read the victor's side of the story, we're not actually getting history. We're getting propaganda. To be truly literate about history, you have to understand the full spectrum of an event. The triumph, yes, but also the trauma, the glory, and all the ghosts it leaves behind.
And that really just leaves us with one last question to think about. In our own time, with our own forms of progress and dominance, whether it's economic, technological, or cultural, what are the unseen costs? What kind of shadow are our modern victories casting for future generations to have to deal with?